Hey, good evening and welcome to Image Builders Presents Conversation with Michael Carson. I'm your host, Michael Carson. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. If you're watching me via Facebook, please click on that like button and the share button. Let people know that we're on the air tonight. If you're watching us by YouTube, make sure that you click the subscribe button and then that bell so that you'll be notified when there's other videos that will be played. Hope that you guys have all had all of the ladies that follow the show and the mothers. Hope you had a great Mother's Day. I know my wife did. She enjoyed it, even posted a pic on Facebook and some other stuff of us and our son. So we had a good time, and we hope that those of you like me whose moms have passed away, we hope that you were able to reflect and also pay tribute to your mom. We got an excellent show tonight. All of our shows have been excellent. This show, I'm really, really excited about. I have probably, I would say, the premier celebrity fashion designer in Atlanta, in the world. I'm going to say in the world. I'm claiming that already, in the world, because he didn't suited up just about any and everybody in the country. I'm talking about none other than, let me just read this quick. He's a fashion designer, an equestrian, an author, a business owner, philanthropist, a veteran, and he probably is the hardest working man in the country right now, because he has an awesome event that's coming up, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But please welcome to the show my very special guest, none other than Mr. Miguel Wilson from Mr. Miguel Wilson Collection. Thank you, sir.
Man, thank you. That was a outstanding introduction.
Thank you. I want to say from the onset that you and I share a little bit in common. I'm a veteran as well, and I was born in DC.
Oh, wow.
I know you. Yeah, and I know you. I know you grew up in DC, so we share that little bit in common. If nothing else.
How about that? What? Thank you for your service, my brother.
Yeah, you too. You
First
too.
and foremost.
You too.
And what part of Washington are you from?
It was Northwest DC. We were poor. My parents were teenage parents. Left DC when I was, but we migrated to Los Angeles. So my early childhood in DC, and actually I'll be back in that area next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
You coming to my party?
I leave the day of. I was thinking about coming to the one on the 21st, though. I saw you have something on the 21st.
Yeah,
but I'll be leaving the day of. So, but I saw it and I was like, man, I wish I could have stayed over for it. But I mean, those tickets are gone. All of us, all of us average folks tickets are gone, man. It's only your VIP tickets left.
I'm be honest with you, the average folk tickets weren't average priced either. So
right.
It was all premium. We got a phenomenal event planned, and it's gonna be exceptional. I don't think that, for one, it's formal, red carpet. And I'm gonna tell you what I did that's different. I'm requiring all the guys to wear white jackets.
I saw that.
The ladies wear black gowns. So and another thing I'm doing that's significant, Bentley's my sponsor. They've been my sponsors for pretty much all of my events for the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I have all black spirits being served.
Excellent.
Black-owned companies.
Yep.
Only. No major brands, but just, really giving everybody an opportunity to try something they probably normally wouldn't.
Right.
But in some cases they have, but excellent brands. And just really want to take the platform to do a lot of special things with it.
So we got ahead of ourselves. So I want to dial it back a little bit. Tell people who you are in your journey, because I follow you on Instagram. I'm moved by the way you move. So I follow how you move and what you do and what you say. So tell people a little bit about your journey.
Well, I grew up, as you know, in Washington D.C. and I went to Bowie State for 4 years, transferred my 5th year, and graduated from Clark Atlanta University. So I'm a Clark Atlanta alum, but I also have really close ties or closer relationships to those people, at Bowie State College. And as I said, as you said, I've got my commission from Howard and went on to work in corporate for several years before I actually got into fashion and started my fashion brand. So I created the Miguel Wilson collection about 10 years ago.
Okay.
But I've been in fashion for almost 30.
So how did you transition from, I mean, what was it always something that you were passionate about, or is it?
Yeah, I love clothes. It was a fun thing for me. And I'll tell you, I had a corporate job working for Pillsbury, and I started my first clothing brand, which is called John Michael out of North Carolina. And I did that for about 7 years. So I worked the job while I had my business on a part-time basis. And I thought I was ready to jump out there and do this thing full-time. And I realized real quickly that I probably wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. And so I went out there and worked my business for I quit my job, did a lot of things. I never really thought fashion was my lifelong situation. It was more just something I was doing at the moment. It probably wasn't until I changed the name of the brand to Miguel Wilson that I made a decision that, this is my life. This is what I'm going to be doing.
So was it the fabrics? Was it the fact that you could design something from beginning and have people wear it? Was it all of that? I mean, who was your inspiration?
Well, my dad, my grandfather, both have always been really great dressers. And you follow me, you've seen them both, my fashion shows and participating in things I do. So those guys really have always been great inspirations to me fashion-wise. I do have, I love Tom Ford, Ralph Lauren, probably two of my favorites. But, my style, I just tell you briefly kind of how I got into this space to where, I really started to, I guess, get more notoriety or becoming more recognized. 2011, I was in a position where I had to file bankruptcy. And I had my clothing company going and everything. I filed bankruptcy. I ended up losing pretty much everything, and I had to start over. And at that place, I made a decision that, let me just stick with the fashion, and I created the Miguel Wilson brand. Now, at that point in time, I decided that I wanted to direct my business and attention to weddings for men, because no one else really was. So going into and starting to specialize in wedding attire for men, I think gave me more recognition, because being the only one in that space, no one was really paying attention to that. And I created the tagline, because it's his day too. And I think that resonated probably more so with brides, and I think that I just had good timing with it, the idea, the concept, and just also the timing of social media being what it was becoming. It started really taking root, and people started using social media more. And so that my timing was good in this particular situation, where I was able to use social media to really gain a platform and get a lot of attention.
So you wrote so besides the obvious, because it's his day too, you wrote a book about it. What do you want to convey besides, the obvious? If we look at the tagline, what is the message you want to put out there with that statement?
Performance weddings, but even more specifically, I've majority of my clients are either African American or Latin. Majority of my clients. And even further, just even if they're African or Haitian, they're Black people for the most part. And I think one of the things that I've kind of see myself go down is really changing the narrative for Black men in the way that people see us.
Okay.
Okay, so like people, and this is what I recognize, that people were comfortable seeing Black men on the ground with our hands behind our backs. They're comfortable. It doesn't resonate with them at all when they see Trayvon Martin's get shot and killed. They don't see their sons. So the thing I do is show Black men that are in love with their women, that love their kids, that are good brothers, good friends, good fathers, and great husbands. So I'm showing us in a way that society has refused to recognize us in.
Yeah.
So I think it's bigger than fashion for me. It's about my using my platform to be to benefit uh us in every way possible, mankind in whatever way I can, So
Right. And so when I'm watching men, men take their take their photo with you, with the sign, and then oftentimes there's an event. I don't know if that's an actual event for everyone who purchases, their wedding attire from you. So what is the process? So
let me educate you.
Okay, yeah, educate me on
So
that.
what happens is when a woman gets engaged, the first thing they do is call all their girlfriends up, right? And they get all the girlfriends together and they all go dress shopping. Okay, they go to a bunch of different bridal shops, and then when they go to these places, they sip champagne, and it's a big fun part of the process for them. And when they find that dress, they take a picture with a sign that says, "I said yes to the dress."
Yeah.
At this place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to give men a similar experience.
Okay.
So everything I do is because it's his day too. So you're going to get, when you come in, you're going to get treated in a way that you probably aren't accustomed to. We're going to offer you cocktails. We're going to have you, stuff for men though. We got whiskey, we got vodka, and so not just champagne, right? And we do stuff to make you feel, and your friends that come with you, we encourage them to bring their we do these things called grooms lounges where they bring their groomsmen with them, and we do fittings, and we sit around, we have cocktails, and then we do what we call our roast and toast.
Okay.
So all the guys get a chance, all the groomsmen get a chance to roast and toast the groom. And I'm gonna tell you, I've come up with some great ideas with the books, with the the clothes, the design, all that stuff. But this is probably my best idea ever, because to be in a room and you hear these brothers speaking to another brother saying, "Man, I'm so proud of you. I love you."
Yeah.
To hear these brothers, it's funny because you hear these stories, but you also just hear so much emotion. I can't tell you how many guys, you know, cried in there, and just really, man, it's very emotional. It's funny. It's fun, and it's an experience that they will never forget. It's not, at the wedding, the best man may get to say a few words, but in my store, every one of the guys can say a few words, to the groom, and it's we usually tape it and everything, so it's very sentimental. So it's exciting.
Does the groom purchase his tux and the other guys rent theirs, or does everyone purchase?
We don't do rentals at all.
Okay.
I just have a thing about used clothes. I think
Yeah.
this is my thought. Okay, a woman, and this is why I started the brand.
Yeah.
Women will going to look their very best on their wedding day. Okay, why would you as a groom show up in used clothes and she's looking her very best?
I'm
Why
there
would
with you.
you why would you choose to rent something that you could own and wear many times over? She's not going to wear that wedding gown but one time.
Yeah.
Okay, you can pay more for yours and actually get usage out of it. And she's buying hers knowing she'll never wear it again. Hopefully, she ain't planning on wearing it again. Okay, right. So, and as far as groomsmen go, we do nice suits or tuxedos. We understand groomsmen, and that's what we kind of direct grooms on the best looks. That makes it. We do a very affordable situations for the grooms, and our packages of $300-400 with shoes for our groomsmen.
And that's about what it costs in his places. So why
Exactly.
not just buy it?
Exactly. And so it's so and the thing is, my name is on all of it, so I got to make sure that you guys, to get my guys look phenomenal. When they say I got it from Miguel Wilson.
Yeah, yeah. So would you say fashion is more about the person that's wearing the clothes than the attitude of the person that's wearing the clothes, or what is it? Or is it also a combination of that and the brand itself?
Well, see, nobody knows the brand unless you're wearing something with a label on the outside, right?
Right.
So I mean, unless it has some significant identifiers on it or whatever. But
Mhm.
I definitely, you have to wear clothes that make you feel comfortable, make you feel
Yeah.
good. And fashion today is very individual. I think that
Yeah.
there was a time, you say 30 years ago, you had to be, quite frankly, a skinny white girl to
Mhm.
even be considered a model or be considered fashionable. And now you see girls over 200 pounds,
Yeah.
that look good wearing clothes, and they've
Yeah.
made their own style out of stuff, and they've redefined fashion, and now
Yeah.
we don't have just certain people saying this is what fashion is today. We have influencers, we have people
Yeah.
who are out there carving niches out, and saying, this is our style. This is what style is today. So I think that people, fashion is forever moving. It's never the same every single day,
Mhm.
because somebody comes up with something new that people like every single day, right?
Yeah, and that's to your point about how social media has really given most people a platform that might not have had a platform to present themselves in a way that may
Man,
draw other people to it.
that to me is probably one of the most significant shifts in society. If you
Mhm.
think about it, 20, 30 years ago, to get the level of exposure as a brand, you would have to
Yeah,
spend millions of dollars.
yeah,
You'd have to spend millions of dollars to get exposure. And
yeah,
today, you can literally, if you're creative and smart, you can figure out creative ways to get exposure with very little money.
yeah,
And become, you got people out there with 1 million followers. They probably didn't spend much money at all. They made this something crazy and
yeah,
end up with 1 million followers. And now they are influencers.
yeah, yeah. So one of the things I like about when I'm following you on Instagram is that you're very transparent. And one of the posts I saw that was really that I appreciated and actually touched me because I wasn't a big Herman Cain fan,
Mhm.
but you did a very long, detailed dedication, if you will, to Herman
Mhm.
Cain or your transition with him. Talk a little bit about what he meant to you and how he influenced you early on.
Well, I'll tell you something, man. I worked for Pillsbury Food Company
Mhm.
and in sales, and they talked about this black guy that was in corporate that was like
Mhm.
a really big time guy. His name was Herman Cain. He worked for Pillsbury, and then he ended up buying a division from Pillsbury that was
Mhm.
Godfather's Pizza.
Mhm.
And so I used to go. It was I worked in North Carolina and South Carolina, and there's one Godfather's Pizza there, and I would make it a point to go there to eat because I knew a brother owned
Yeah.
it. And fast forward years later, I meet him. I'm
Okay.
doing clothes at this point, and he's running for U.S. Senate here in Georgia. And
Mhm.
I would do his clothes, and he would just mentor me on so many levels. I remember talking to me about franchising versus licensing, and just I could hit him with ideas. Miguel, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And he was just so personable, and
Mhm.
just such a, his wife. I'd be at his home, and they were just such nice people. And I thought, back in those days too, I thought he had great ideas. I mean, when you think
Yeah.
about the taxes, if you, hey, you own a company, you know what I'm talking about, and if you
Yeah.
make a certain amount of money, you're going, taxes are crazy in this country. It's out of control. And he had some great ideas around. So, and I think, we as most black people, we really have conservative values. It's just that
Yeah.
we don't identify with, you know the BS that comes with Republican stuff, you know. So I think that he resonated with me a lot, and I think he transitioned to ultra conservative.
Yeah.
And he took on more of those other values that I really didn't like later. So I can appreciate the man I knew personally.
Right.
Now I heard him on the radio. I listened to him here and there, and I agree with 90% of the stuff I heard him say then. But I much rather hold the experiences I had with him individually, one on one, as the person I think he is.
Right, because that stuff. I mean, that didn't change. I mean, that couldn't change. It will never change because that was your experience with him. So you didn't have to throw the whole thing out. There were still things, and that's why I said I appreciated seeing that post. You talk about, for people that are watching who have businesses, talk about your business partner, because I see you show a lot of love to him. I believe he's. I'm not sure if he's your only business partner. But the one that's in the National Harbor store.
Oh, Vino.
Vino, yeah. Vino.
Yeah, that's what. You know what?
Talk about how important that is.
I will tell you this, okay? I have one guy's been with me even longer than Vino, okay? A couple guys been with me longer than Vino. And one of them is David. He runs pretty much our operations. We've been together for as long as he and one of my tailors, Tan. We've been working together for about 15 years now. And but I'll just tell you, when I set out reinventing myself, I also reinvented the people I wanted to work with.
Yeah.
And every single person that is new or old, we all talk about, the thing that's got to resonate with us. And every person that walks through that door is people got to feel love. I want to feel love when I walk in. I walked in the store today. I hadn't been there all week. And it's such a beautiful thing because it's my brothers, and I tell all the guys, they know, my name's on the door, but this is your store. You run it, you make it happen. And so I'm really into allowing them to run a business. These are business guys, and I respect them as such. I don't look them as employees. I don't have no employees. I have people that are business people that play a role. I'm a quarterback. I got a good running back. I got a good receiver. And I got some good defensive guys. So that's how we run the business. And everybody operates with love and care. It's amazing even to see the love that they have amongst themselves outside of me too. Yeah. That's what I really love to see. It's like, those guys have great relations. They talk all the time, and we're family. I mean, it really is a family between us.
Well, and I was inspired watching him. I think he did a post where he showed like 9 or 10 different looks, and I was like, okay, they don't just hook up the skinny guys.
Yeah, big guy. We mess with them all the time.
They have a love for us big and tall men too.
Right.
So
we said our big and tall model for the company.
Yeah. So I said most definitely, I definitely can come in there and pick me out something or I'll be able to get some service, and I don't have to be scared of coming in because they only outfit all these skinny dudes. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about being an equestrian. I mean, that was the second thing that wowed me when I started following you, because I saw you had your polo classic here in Atlanta. Right. And I don't think last year it happened because of the weather or COVID, or I'm not sure what.
We had a nasty storm that came through and flooded our venue out. So that's what happened.
Yeah. So talk about that. I mean, you're probably the first and only Black man I know that I've talked to that's an equestrian. So
right. Well,
how did you?
I tell you, I grew up. I went to a camp. I went to a camp as a kid. Fell in love with horses.
Okay.
And was fortunate enough to have a great grandmother that paid for me to take some riding lessons, because I lived, breathed, and ate horses as a kid. So I think that one of the things that always resonated with me growing up, one of my fondest memories is, I grew up in Northwest Washington, D.C., like you did. But driving out to that barn and the emotions that I would feel riding out and seeing the green grass and seeing the houses and seeing the horses and the emotion of uh, the peace that I would start to feel, the stress leaving my body from living in that environment and going to that environment. And when I got to the barn, man, it was just euphoric for me. It was like, man, I just loved it. And even going home, I could always think about, okay, well, I get to come back next week. I had something to look forward to. And this is what really motivated me to create the foundation, which is called Ride to the Olympics Foundation, and which we help inner city kids get exposed to horses and primarily polo. And I tell you, I chose polo. I'll tell you how the event started. I was playing one day at this farm in Alpharetta, Georgia, and a brother driving down the hill in a truck stopped me, and he said, "Man, were you playing?" I said, "Yeah, I was playing." He said, "Man, I've been here years. I ain't never seen a black guy playing out here."
Yeah.
And it just hit me like, dude, you're doing something that and have the ability to offer this to other people. I can share this with other people. I think that one of the things about a polo event is intimidating. We as black people can go and not feel comfortable. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't know how we're supposed to act. We don't know what we're supposed to wear. It's it can just feel and polo is probably the most elite sport in the world. I don't know that you can do anything above polo and it be considered, this is the king sport. Okay. So I thought it's a good idea to, number one, do an event that could expose this to and do it with our culture in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the key. So I created the Atlanta Fashion Polo Classic with our culture in mind. So that you come there, you can listen to our music, you can eat our foods, but it's all luxury. Okay, high end. I think that a lot of times when we think something's black, it's not top of the line.
Right.
Well, I got helicopters flying in, picking people up.
Now I see. Yeah, I see the pictures. I
We have
see the
we have
pictures.
we have Bentleys pick you up in the helicopters when you land. We have great food. Set it apart from other events. There's nothing else like it, and it's an event that people can come and not feel. Most of the people who come to our polo classics, this is their first polo um, event they've been to before, and you don't have to feel like, okay, I'm comfortable. And that's why our tagline is, where culture and class connect. So we have, just the exposure to the game, but it's for a good purpose. It's to fund the foundation.
Yeah, in which I want to say one, congratulations on your partnership with Morehouse. I saw that. I saw that. That's big. First HBCU with a polo club. And so talk a little bit.
Let me tell you about that. It was crazy because when we I introduced the team at the Polo Classic in 2019. I brought these three kids out, and only one of them actually rode a horse at the time. Okay. So the other ones were part of a polo team, but they didn't ride horses. So,
oh wow, okay,
yeah. So, but hey, go to any black college and find me four black kids that ride horses. That's hard to find, So we had to take some that didn't ride and that had motivation though, and they were phenomenal because they stuck with it. That was the key. They stuck with it. They for a whole year they went to practices and they actually became really good polo players. Unfortunately, polo got their polo seasons got canceled due to COVID.
okay.
Yeah. So, but we
So
did.
now there's a foundation. So and I put it up for people who are watching. Ride to the Olympics.org. Talk about that and talk about your gala that's coming up on the 22nd.
So I wanted to be able to give kids who are growing up in certain environments, in certain situations, the opportunity to be exposed to something that they otherwise wouldn't be. Horses, it's not just about the horses or the polo, it's about the people. being exposed to the people that are involved changes the lives of those that they meet. If you think about it, and this is relevant to anybody on earth. uh, you are the sum of the people you've met and the things you've been exposed to.
Yeah.
So if you can change those two things, if you can enable people to meet the right people, if you can enable kids to be exposed to the right things, their path is different. They'll have opportunities that other kids are privy to, that have economic advantages. So that to me is the biggest thing. And I think also it's about confidence. I think that as a kid growing up in certain environments, to play polo will give you a certain level of confidence that other sports won't.
Yeah.
Because you can have conversations with anybody, and I'm gonna tell you, playing polo, golf, certain sports, you know, everybody expects you to play basketball. They expect you to
Right.
play football. There's nothing. I mean, it's nothing special about that in the eyes of many people. But
Right.
when you do those, when you play golf, you play polo. Guess what? People are, oh, okay. They see you
Well,
differently.
well, you got to ride a horse and control the horse and control yourself and be able to control the.
Well, let me say this. This who you need to view next week, okay? This is my girlfriend Chancey, right? So
Hey.
so she has her first polo lesson next week.
Okay.
So you need to have her on the show, and you can ask her what it's like going through the process of learning how to ride a horse and swing a stick at the same time. So that's
Well,
gonna be funny.
well, welcome Queen to the show. I know you show her mad love on Instagram as well. So welcome to the show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me time with Mr. Wilson here. So we're past the time. I want to close out, give you some final thoughts, and if you have time to jump on the gram with me for about 10 minutes, then that's great. If
Sure.
not,
No, I
then
got
we
time. I got time.
okay.
No
All
problem.
right, but I want to give you final thoughts. What you want to say to entrepreneurs, to men that are getting married. But before that, I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight on Conversation with Michael Carson. Hop over to Instagram where we'll continue the conversation at Michael Carson Jr. on the gram. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week, and make sure you follow those of you that follow me on Facebook and Instagram and others. Look for the notice for next week. We're going to do our first international show. We're going to talk to a businessman from Nigeria who has a business in 6 states in Nigeria. He's going to talk about that and some things that he was doing with AI. So I'm really excited about that show next week. But for those of you, again, who are watching, make sure you click that share button and that like button, and also click that subscribe button on YouTube. The final voice you'll hear tonight on this show will be none other than Miguel Wilson of the Miguel Wilson Collection. Take it away, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a thought with my entrepreneurs first, and that is all of your trials and tribulations that you endure, especially starting out, will all serve you in your success. You can't, only when you quit is it over. So as long as you keep pursuing your dreams and believing in yourself, you got an opportunity to win. And it's amazing how things can just all of a sudden start clicking for you when you just keep your foot on the pedal. So uh, don't quit. Stick with it, and you're not a failure. And the things that may seem like failure to many people are only lessons for you to learn from and benefit you tomorrow. Okay. Now, for my guys get married, I do a lot of guys get married, and I speak to a lot of young guys about getting married. I've been married before, and I had I was married 15 years, so I know a little bit about being married. But I'm also in a monogamous, happy relationship today. So um, I'll share this with you that your the guys who marry their best friends are the guys that win the most, because that voice will be the voice you listen to the most, not your friends. That's the person you want to spend time with on vacation, time with just enjoy each other's company. So as long as you hold tight to that and don't compromise on your values, don't compromise on your integrity and your character, you will win. I know it can be tough at times, but there's a lot of pitfalls out here, and generally speaking, you know, there's no coming back from certain situations. So you got to maintain your character and your integrity. All right.
Excellent words of encouragement. We'll hang on 1 second, and we'll see you guys on the gram in a minute.
All right.